Good morning, guys. It is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. This is Bathrobe Business. I got my coffee. I think my cold is gone. And I got the news. So I'm going to talk about a number of stories today. I actually have a ton of stories, all that I think are individually related to the greater market as a whole, but I think individually look kind of small. And I will be talking about Wendy's because I think that's a major story that everybody's talking about. I also think it's funny because so I'll get to why it's funny. We'll get to that. So, really quick, rapid fire. Bitcoin is above 61,000 now. I know I reported yesterday it was at 57. I did not buy my Bitcoin like I said I was, and I was supposed to. But Bitcoin has now jumped above 60,000 for the first time since November 2021. If I remember right, the all-time high, I really need to check it, is either 67,000 or 69,000. I think it was just shy of 70,000. So this seems to be a Bitcoin rally. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to break that ceiling that it had set a couple years ago. Probably here within the next maybe week, given how quickly it's accelerating. I think once a bubble starts, it starts to accelerate pretty quickly. I'm showing too much cleavage there. All right, so next story is about retail. So TJ Maxx topped earnings drastically. This is mostly holiday sales, right? This is fourth quarter sales. We knew that holiday sales were strong all the way going back to Black Friday. Because Black Friday topped expectations, and that just kept continuing as a domino effect. Everybody thought the retail season would be muted, but it was actually one of the better retail sale seasons we've ever had. We had record sales and record amount of individual spending. So earnings were up $1.22 versus expected $1.12 earnings per share. Revenue is up 16.41 billion versus the 16.21 billion. So retail, very strong. This isn't accounting for November, February numbers, but still I think it goes to show that the market is doing very, very strong. Jamie Dimon, however, is talking about headwinds, but Jamie Dimon always talks about headwinds. This goes back to, I think, 2021 when he was talking about that there's dark clouds on the horizon. I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, I wouldn't bet against Jamie Dimon, of course. He's Jamie Dimon. But I think this is kind of a par for the course. Every few months, he seems to talk about how doom is coming. And that's not to say that he won't be right one of these days, but I don't think that him saying it is anything outside the ordinary. Homes. So homes is where most of the activity is happening. And I think this is a good thing because this is something that could drive a drop in prices, potentially. I know home prices are mostly being set by supply. So there's not enough supply to meet demand. But even so, when you have powerful interest rates trying to push the market down, I still think you're going to see price drops. I did do some Googling just locally. We are seeing price drops here in Utah. So there's a lot of homes that have been on the market for probably a third of the year and are dropping prices anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000. Just in anecdotally speaking, just based on the Googling that I did, like if you go to Zillow.com and start looking at homes in the medium price range, anywhere from 500 to 700,000, you'll see a lot of those homes have been on the market for at least 100 days, which is something that we haven't seen in a while. So I think the housing market is definitely still has room to drop. Still has more room to decrease prices to get actual movement, but I think interest rates are a good stimulus for that. So as far as the data goes, 30-year fixed rate mortgages are decreased to 7.04% from 7.06% last week. So this is last week's number. So interest rates dropped ever so slightly, but still above 7%. Applications to refinance a home loan were 7% lower than the previous week and 1% lower from the same week 1 year ago. So despite the fact that interest rates are high, honestly, I think refis aren't all that different. I don't know why I sounded like a Valley girl when I said that. All I'm saying is 1% difference year to year is not a huge drop in refis, considering interest rates are high and are now being signaled that they will remain high. Last year, we still had hope that interest rates might stop and might drop. And I think that hope is gone, so a change of 1% is not that unusual. Applications for mortgages to purchase a new home are 5% dropped 5% for the week and are 12% lower from the same week a year ago. So that's where the major drop is happening. So major drop in home purchases year to year. A 12% drop is pretty substantial. So we will see what happens in the next coming weeks. We're supposed to get new inflation data tomorrow. It's not core inflation data. It's personal consumer expenditure temperature data, but still it's going to show a general trend in the market of if inflation is going up or inflation is going down, and essentially give us a prediction of what's going to happen with interest rates. I think inflation is going to come in still at estimates are still pretty high. I don't see a reversal coming anytime soon, given how strong we're seeing sales, how strong we're seeing spending in the market, strong economy, low unemployment. I think inflation is going to remain at its current levels or potentially maybe a slight increase is what I'm expecting. So that's why, like I said, I don't expect any drop in interest rates anytime soon. I think this is a third or fourth quarter conversation at the very least, because general trends right now are still that inflation is high and therefore interest rates have to remain high. Next, let's talk about tech real quick. So more layoffs in the tech industry. That's nothing unusual, but just a minor story. Bumble is going to lay off 350 employees as the tech industry jobs cuts continue. Klarna, on the other hand, which is a company I've reported on multiple times. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this company, but I actually do kind of want to invest because I think this is a much savvier company and a much larger company than most people are giving credit. I think it has real momentum in the future. Klarna has been all in on AI pretty much since day one. So back when OpenAI kind of became a major name, the CEO of Klarna reached out to Sam Altman and said, look, I'm all in. We want to work together. And they've been implementing AI on every scale, everything from internal co-pilots to chatbots. And so now today there was another story. It was one that was essentially signaled a few weeks ago that Klarna is rolling out chatbots, but here they were just talking about exactly what they're doing. So Klarna says its new AI assistant is outperforming customer service, and it probably did the work of about 700 people and will save them approximately $40 million. I think that's an overestimate. I think that is I think the optics of that are very powerful. I think saying you are a fintech company that is using AI instead of traditional customer service agents and how efficient it is and everything else makes you sound much more sophisticated than it is. I don't think those numbers are as high as they are simply because how cheap foreign customer service agents usually are and how simple they are at solving basic problems of I need a refund, this item didn't arrive on time. So I think those are overestimates, but I do believe that there was savings and efficiency gained. I don't question that. But I think that a lot of these companies are doing this also for optics. Especially Wendy's, which we'll talk about next. But still a major story. I think Klarna is actually a pretty strong and pretty good company to look at in the future. They're not public yet, to my knowledge. But once they do go public, I'm going to invest because I think they are. I think they are a very savvy fintech company, and I think they have real power in the market that most people don't see yet. I think they have the potential to be really an Amazon in the market because if you go to their website, even though they call themselves a fintech company, you can get specials on their website. I've bought stuff on their website, financed it over the course of X amount of months. Granted, this is usually just through partner websites. So you go there and you're like, oh, I want to buy this computer mouse. And they will connect you to a website that is selling that computer mouse and then do the financing for you. So I should say they're not carrying items themselves yet. But let's not forget that Amazon didn't carry their own items for the longest time either. So finally, Wendy's, the major story of the day. So Wendy's, there's a lot going on here. Wendy's is essentially, if you haven't heard, is implementing a dynamic menu board. So essentially, their drive-thrus and probably internally as well, they're going to have menus where the prices can vary on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis. Now, originally, a lot of people thought this was going to be like Uber, where the prices can surge during peak hours. The CEO has come out saying that's not what they meant. I don't know if that's not what they meant. I think they actually did mean that. I think they backtracked it. I think he very much wanted to implement this system because it sounds great for investors, right? You're going to have a price that changes at peak operating hours and things like the Baconator or whatever, the Wendy's Frosties, when temperature outside is hot or when people are really hungry, you spike the price by a couple cents. I think that's exactly what they had planned. They are backtracking that. I also think that's insane to have a market like that. That's like a commodity where the prices vary hour to hour and day by day. But I think that's a danger of AI in the future. And it's something we need to watch for because I think that this kind of market is definitely something that can exist. I know we've kind of accepted it as fact with Uber and Lyft, but I think it's very different when it's basic consumer goods. Because now what they're saying is they're going to be using these boards essentially to offer discounts or bundle services. Like if you're getting a Frosty, they'll say, "Oh, if you buy right now, you'll get 50 cents off of the large fries," or something like that. Or if you're getting one Baconator, you can get the second one right now at half off. That's probably how they're going to launch it. But I think this has real potential to be a danger in the market. When we talk about like an AI dystopia, I think this very much could be it, where we're just getting price gouged, where we're getting hit with little hidden fees, and the price of a Baconator can change 10 cents. You probably won't even notice it, but that means massive amounts of more revenue for the company and massive amounts of more cost to the consumer. So this is something we need to watch. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is this isn't really an AI story. So what I mean by that is this technology has kind of existed for the longest time, right? A digital kiosk that can change a price according to a time of day and based on demand is basic algorithm programming. So I don't know if this is really an AI story, even though I just said it was an AI story. But all I'm saying is I think this is more zeitgeist. I think once an idea is in the market, everybody starts to adopt it, whereas they wouldn't have, even though the technology was basically already there. Right, like text messages were existent prior to smartphones, but it was really the idea of having a digital keyboard that kind of made them take off. You could have sent text messages, you could have sent wire transfers and done internet surfing on old-fashioned flip phones. It just wasn't there yet because of a small little innovation. So I think this is more zeitgeist. Wendy's could have done this a decade ago, probably 2 decades ago. There's nothing complicated here. I could program this in probably a couple of days. McDonald's could have done the same, but I think the fact that AI is in the market, everybody has an AI mindset, and that's where society is really going to be changing with AI. Is everybody is going to approach a problem thinking, can we use AI for this? Where they didn't really have that with traditional programming and algorithms. Nobody ever thought, oh, could I get an algorithm to do this? That's pretty much it. So that's my take on Wendy's and all the other stories of the day. I will be back tomorrow. I hope you guys have a productive day.